What I want from you is to navigate to a site which is called, well, write down in your browser, download VirtualBox, and click enter. Okay, you're gonna see downloads Oracle VM VirtualBox. That's the first site. Well, the second one, Oracle VM VirtualBox, the second link actually. Okay, it's beautiful that you have it already on your system. That's fine, but you need to know. So if you sit on a separate system, to know how to do it. That's the site. If I navigate a little bit on the downloads on the left side, you see, I need, so when you click on downloads, you're gonna see which one you need to download. So most of the time you need to download the Windows hosts, this one. So you click on this and it will start downloading. You see it here, right? Now, it's not only the only download you need. You need another thing. You see it says here, extension pack. This is an addition to the VirtualBox, and it is needed. And it's supposed to be the same version as the VirtualBox. So there is all platforms here. Most of the time you need to click on this one too. Okay? So you need these two things. The VirtualBox itself, in our case for Windows hosts, and as well as this the extension pack, which is, as the name presumes, it will extend our system with something. Any questions here? So as soon as you download this and install it, the installation is pretty straightforward. You just click next. I'll open mine. If you just installed it, it will ask you to integrate inside the extension pack. It will ask you to integrate inside the extension pack, and it's very easy. Basically, you go to File Manager. Either you could click on the extension pack itself twice, or you could go to check for updates, preferences. Okay, extensions, and here my extension pack has been installed. Okay, otherwise I could add new package here with this plus sign, and I could have my extension pack installed. But that's after installation of VirtualBox. In my case, and in your cases, most probably, everything is okay done for now. Now, you might have an older version, and it might look a little bit different because between version 5 and version 6, the interface looks a little bit different, but everything is the same. Yes. A good idea, guys, you to know where the virtual machines will be when you install the virtual machine, where it will go. That's an important thing to know. By default, the virtual machines, first of all of them, they are files. They're a simple file, okay? Or several files. But the real virtual machine is only one file. So the virtual machine, by default, is installed on your system on C drive. Now I'm going to use the moment to put some, to give you some additional information about something which anyways we're going to learn. So what I'm going to use now, a term which is called a root of the file system. Root, which is C. Now, if I would like to see a little bit more user-friendly, maybe for you won't be user-friendly, but I'm telling you it's better. When you go to the File Manager, once again, this is this small icon here on your taskbar. That's how they call it. So if I go here on this, on the empty space of this bar on the top and click somewhere inside, you see now I'm seeing wherever I put it there for you on the whiteboard. I see the C. So basically, if I go to Users, and if I go, well, in Users, all the user who connected to the computer, who logged into the computer, at least once, their profile resides. Okay, we're gonna speak about this once again too. I'm just initially telling you about this. So you see, I have the administrator, I have a SEN, which is me, I have ISI, I have MAMA, and I have public. So all of these are users. Public is not exactly this, but think about this for now. like it is. So all of these guys, at least once, they logged into the computer. And if I click to ascend, you see I see all of my documents. If I click on desktop, basically I could see mostly all of the things which I'm seeing really on my desktop. Okay? If I go to my download folder, wherever I download it, actually is here. And I could see it right away from here as well. Okay? So that's for every user. The users, this subfolder is where we store the user's profiles. Okay? So when I go to my name in my case, okay, users, ascend. Well, the VirtualBox VMS, this one at the bottom, this is what by default stores all the virtual machines. That's by default. I could change this thing. Okay? And I see several images here. You see something which is called core, something which is called DC1, something which is called DC2, and something which is called PC clone. All of these are virtual machine. And I could see their size. This one is 9 GB and something. This is 13 and something, 13.8. Okay? So, and I see also their type, which actually is their extension. You know, the files in Windows, they have extension, which shows the system which program to use to open, to activate them. I could see the extension when I go to view. And if I click here where it says file name extension, if I click on this checkbox, here it is, it shows .vdi. And as you see, VDI means exactly virtual disk image. Okay? So that's what it is. I see where it has been modified, what's the size, and I could see more stuff if I choose them. Well, I could change it from the hypervisor itself. Once again, what I'm seeing here is the hypervisor which Oracle VirtualBox has been provided us very kindly with for free. It's also called a manager, as you see, VirtualBox Manager, the same thing. It's the hypervisor. It's also called a host because it's hosting the guests. Well, if I click on this one, you see I have 4 guests here. I have DC1, DC2, Comp1, Core, and whatever. Okay, these are virtual machines. Okay, all of these guys. Now, if I would like to create a virtual machine, if I click on, well, first of all, before doing this, for the hypervisor itself, all the settings are in the file. Where I see file here, if I click on it, everything what is related here, most of the things is related directly to the hypervisor. So when I click preferences, all of the preferences, it says here, VirtualBox preferences. These are for hypervisor. So the first thing in general says where the default machine folder will be. As you see, I changed it. That's the way you could change it. You click here on this drop down, you do other, and you go and create it wherever you want. In my case, I created it on this separate partition, we call it, because it's part of the same disk, which looks like a different disk. When I click on it, I created it here in this, it's called this one, the VirtualBox VMS, this one. So I created it manually. So every time I start new machine, it will go not in the default, which I showed it to you. It will go to this one, which I designated myself. If I would like to create a virtual machine, it's very easy. Well, first of all, you need the ISO file. Okay, well, that's one of the programs you could use, and that's their official site, ImageBurn. You see there are some mirrors, so these are different sites from which you could download this program. I'm gonna download it from the site itself, ImageBurn. I'm gonna click on this link. It will be downloaded as you see below. Well, it will take now a little bit of time because everyone else is downloading at the moment. And I'll show it to you as soon as it's downloaded how it looks. The easiest way is to use these icons at the top, but actually you could also use these menus here as well. But if you click on the new button, okay, now the first thing you're gonna see is the wizard of creating virtual machines. Now, the default view will be this one, okay, which is called a guided view. If I would like to see, both views are the same, just you need to click more if you use this one. If I click on the expert mode, I'm going to see whatever I'm going to see before. I was seeing before. First thing you need to do is to name it. You could put whatever name you want. The only thing is the names of any machine to be different. Otherwise, it will complain. So if I call test 1, no problem with this at all. By default, it shows me the type Microsoft Windows. I don't want Microsoft Windows. If I want Linux, let's say, you see these are the types. We spoke for some of them yesterday. Mac OS X, IBM OS 2, Berkeley Software Distribution, Sun Solaris, nowadays it's already Oracle Solaris. All of these are Unixes because they have their own Unix kernel, particular one. And the Linux or Linux is the separate kernel, obviously, which is the Linux itself. So if I choose Linux, then from the versions here, I could choose, you see how many of them. And if something's missing, I could always use other Linux or Linux itself. Now, if we go to Windows, here it is. I could choose everything. Windows 3.1, 95, 98, Millennium Edition, NT 3.x, NT 4, 2000, XP, 2003, these are the servers now. Vista, 2008, 7, 8, 8.1, 2012, 2016, and even, as you see, other Windows. Now, something practical here. If you see only 32-bit version, you need to tell me. And we need to ask the guys from IT to come to show you, because the virtualization of your processor into your BIOS or your basic input-output system hasn't been started. And they're supposed to come and do it for you. If you see only 32-bit versions like this. Okay? Now, well, there might be another reason, but for now, that's the major one. So if I choose Windows 10, and I'm going to choose 64-bit, we said nowadays we're working with the 64. Once again, the name could be whatever you decide. It's not it's supposed to be unique. Machine folder, either the default one, or you could even choose here, wherever it could be. You could choose it particularly for this one. The type is very important, and when you choose the type, well, the versions will be related with the type. And you have most of them. Then the memory size, the random access memory. Okay? So the memory size, you could choose. Well, you choose by default what is shown. Sometimes you could choose more. Do not add virtual hard drive. So that would be the hard drive virtually added. So that's not a good option. You could create a virtual hard drive. That's what most of the time you're going to do. And you could use something which you already have most of the time on your portable device, if you have it. Now, keep in mind, the portable devices are connected through USB. USB, even though it's nowadays very powerful, it's still very, very slow comparing how the hard drive spins, and especially the solid state drive works, and so on and so forth. It's very, very slow comparing to it. So if you use one machine, virtual machine created on a USB stick or a USB connected external drive, it will work. But if you do several of them, it will slow down drastically. So it's a good idea, if you would like to move it from here to your home computer and vice versa, move it. Don't use it from the USB. Okay? But you could move it. You could take this file, put it in your computer, work at home, then you could copy it from there, put it here again, no problem at all. You just need to point now here. You need to say, use an existing virtual disk. You need to navigate wherever your virtual disk is already, and no problem at all. In our case, standard case, we're going to create a virtual hard disk now. I'll do create. It shows me where the file will be located and how it will be called. It will be called test1. Let's open now our file manager, so to see how the file will be created. So it will be created in D. That's D. Well, not D. Here's D. Then it will be created in VirtualBox VMSs. Here it is. In Linux_sysadmin, that would be this folder. I'll show it to you after this. and it will be called test1 VDI. You see the folder has been created actually already. Test1 is there. If I click though, there is nothing here yet. The other thing, the file size, how big will be my hard drive? Well, choose the default. For Windows, it's good to be 50 gigabyte at least. VDI, you saw already, that's the virtual disk image. That's the default extension for VirtualBox. The VHD or virtual hard disk is the default extension for Hyper-V. So if you created it like this, you could still use it with VirtualBox, but you could use it also within the Hyper-V, which I showed it to you there. VMDK is the default for the VMware. The same thing. You could use it in VirtualBox, but you could use it on the VMware hypervisor, and so on and so forth. Okay? So the QCO is the Chemo, which is basically working with the KVM as well, and so on and so forth. Dynamically allocated means this 50 gigabyte won't be taken right away from your hard drive. They will be taken when needed. Okay, so if you need a little bit more of space, it will take it then, not right away. And you're gonna see when I create the file. If I do fixed size, right away from my system, 50 gigabytes will be allocated, which I don't want. Okay, and I'll click create. So monitor on the left side now. Here it is. Well, it creates some additional files, which are the log files most of the time. They're not important. If you need to port something from your USB at home, this is what you're gonna need to port or to move. As you see, at the moment, it's only 2 megabytes out of this 50, okay? And what I could do now, well, let's move it out of this. I'm gonna show it this concept now. If I would like to organize it the way I'm seeing the other machines now, I could right click on this guy and I could say group. So I could create a group. It's just logically, which will be separated here. And I could then right click on this group and do rename the group. And I would say tests. I'll click enter. And basically I could move this test1 within the tests. And actually if I come here, here's the test group has been created and test1 now is there. And if I click on test1, here are all the files which we saw before that has been created. But this is the major one, the VDI file. This is my virtual machine. Okay, I just created it. And now, when I do this, I need to do a little bit more. First I need to choose this virtual machine. I need to click on the settings. And then I need to do some additional thing. So first of all, that's the name, the type and the version. If I need to change now, that's the moment to change. In advanced options, shared clipboard and drag and drop. That means the shared clipboard means if I choose bidirectional. That means if I copy something from my real machine to my virtual machine or vice versa, it will be done. No problem. So I could just copy something, click on something on a file, let's say on my real machine, right click copy, and then right click paste within the virtual machine, it will go there directly. That's what this thing does. Drag and drop is the same concept, but instead of Control C or copy, just drag and drop it. Okay? So normally that's optional. I choose bidirectional. The other thing for now, you're not interested in, guys. System. Now, this is how the system will boot, from what will boot. In the beginning, we want to boot from the optical disk, where our ISO file will be. So the floppy no one's using anymore, so I'm gonna uncheck it and I'm gonna move it at the bottom. But that's optional as well. It's not necessary to be done. If you don't do it, it will check it. If it sees nothing there, it will go to the next device and it will boot from it. Well, initially we will boot from the optical disk. We will install from ISO file, we're gonna install the operating system. Then it will reboot and it will ask you again, because that's how it's done on Windows, it will ask you again to click on a button, so to start installation again. Well, if you click on a button, the installation will start over again. And when you get to this point again, it will go back and it will ask you to click the button, and you could do this, until the end of the whole course. Okay? And nothing will be installed. So don't click on this button. That's on Windows. When you install the Windows servers, you just wait. It will reboot several times. You just wait. I'm telling this on the movie. When you're installing it, wait. Okay? So then after the reboot, well, basically it will look on the optical drive. It will see that there is a drive with something there which could boot from it, or we could start from it. If you don't click on it, it will start on the next device, which is the hard drive here. Okay? And it will start out of the operating system, which we already will be installed. Excuse me. Display is a good idea to be the maximum here. The storage, well, that's our VDI. If I click here, I could see, or if I recover it, I'm gonna see the again the path to my VDI file, which I just created, and I see the real actual size, and I see how much it would go, up to 50 gigabyte. Okay, now you see my CD is empty. So I clicked on it and it changed. You see it's changing on the right side, it's changing what it shows. So when I click on this one, I see a small CD here. I'll click on it. Excuse me, and I could choose my CD. You see here, it says Windows 10 Eval 90G blah blah .iso. If I choose it, well, it has been chosen already. If it hasn't, I do choose virtual optical disk. I navigate wherever it is, and then I choose it from here. But because it has been chosen already before, it's already here, so I just click on it. If I would like to remove it or reject the disk, what I do, I mean, click on the button, the tray goes out, I remove the disk. Basically, I click here and I do remove this from the virtual drive. Here it is. It's empty now. Okay? The network. Now, we're not going to talk about this. It's very complex. When we start with the network, we're going to talk then. You need to remember, for now, just to remember, don't choose NAT, choose NAT network. You see there are two NATs here. Choose the NAT network. I'm going to explain you later, or the other teacher will explain you later why. NAT network, that's what you need. You're going to speak about something you don't know now, but it's a good idea to have it on the movie. When you click on advanced, MAC address. This is the hardware address your network card has. It could be changed with these arrows here. If I click, notice now, if I click on this, it will change the number there. Okay, if I click again, change it again, and so on and so forth. For every virtual machine which will be related or will be connected to another one, the MAC address is supposed to be different. By default, it does it automatically. But if you encounter at certain point you have two machines which cannot connect and they have the same MAC address, that's the way you could change for one of them or for both. Okay? Shared folders. That's cool thing. You could share folders from your real machine. Some addition to the first one, if you remember this one, the bidirectional thing. It's optional as well. You click here on the plus sign. You choose here from the drop down, you choose from mother. Most of the time I'm choosing my desktop of my real machine. And actually then you say auto mount, which means every time the computer reboots, it will be there all the time. And basically, when you start the virtual machine, you're going to have an access to your desktop of real machine. So you could copy and paste files both directions. And that's all. You click OK, and you're ready to click the start button to install. Now, I remove the ISO file, so when I click it will give me an error. I'm doing this intentionally. Then we're going to install it. Here it is. It won't install because I don't have an ISO. I don't have a disk. Maybe it's there. Well, I chose it actually. So it's starting. Anyway. At any point I would like to stop it. Hardly to stop it. I could click here on the close. Now I need to choose power off the machine, otherwise it won't really stop. And it won't allow you. You see now, let me do cancel. If I would like to access some of the function here, if I go settings, and if I go, let's say, you see, these are blurred. I cannot do anything because at the moment machine is working. If I choose something else, then power off the machine, they still will be blurred. I cannot be able to do anything. So I need to hardly shut down the machine like this. And then I'm going to be able to access all of this if I want to. Okay, that's not a good idea though, because you could damage the machine. It's better to wait. But if you need to, that's the way to shut it down. Now, if I would like to delete a virtual machine, I would like you guys to understand me very well. Okay, that's the virtual machine, right? See my recycle bin here. Okay, right click on the virtual machine. So actually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go here. So that's my folder, right? This is the tests folder. And my virtual machine actually is here, right? On the test one. So watch what's going on and monitor my recycle bin as well. Right click on this one. Remove. There are two choices. Remove only means I'm gonna delete it only from the manager. It won't be in the manager anymore. If I do delete all files, watch now what's going on. Okay? So if I go to tests, nothing's there. In my recycle bin, the same thing. So something you work on 3 months, let's say, just like this gone with one click, and you cannot restore it. That's why I'm showing this particular. It's very easy, and you cannot revert it. Okay? Let me show it to you. That's a good question. We're gonna do it after this. I'm gonna show it to you. One of the very important places, guys, we're gonna go through together in this module. When you go to the file manager, this PC, right click on this PC and go manage. This is where we manage most of our resources of our local system on our computer. Okay? You see this one, storage and disk management. If I click on this one, disk management, it will show me my hard drives and everything what is a hard drive or a disk in my system. Here it is. Okay? The disk 0, that's my operating system, my C drive. That's the one. What I'm seeing here, C drive, this is exactly this guy, this one. Now, there is 650 megabytes. You always could see on Windows 8.1, Windows 7 actually onwards, you're gonna see always some additional megabytes in front, which are where the boot of the system resides, how the system boots up. So it's always there. Be careful, don't delete it, because if you deleted it, your system is gone. Okay? So this one's supposed to be on, and it's supposed to be always in front. It could be between, I would say, 300 up to 650 megabytes, as you see. Now, before this, it was a full thing, but I just right-click on this, and I shrink the volume, and afterwards, on the volume which resides behind, I created a separate, they call it partition. So as you see, it has the letter D, which is the next after C. And in my file manager, that's what it is, number D. This is the one. So basically, I divided my hard drive on 2 partitions. That's how they call it, partitions or volumes sometimes. We're going to speak about this. Now, the good thing about this is if I have my C with all of my operating system files most of the time, which the system uses, and on D I put all of my user files, machines I'm creating, other thing, well, my system will work a little bit better, because wherever is for the system logically stays on C, and wherever is out of the system I'm using for my stuff, well, it's on D. The best thing would be if I would have another real disk, like a real device. Most of the times nowadays, people put as a C drive a solid state drive, because it's very fast. Okay? It's expensive. You don't need too much. You need 150 gigabytes, let's say. You put there as a C drive, and your operating system is there. And then you buy 1 terabyte disk, which is nothing. It's not so fast, but you don't need so fast for all of your other all of your other user stuff, and you use it like this. That's the perfect thing. Okay? We're going to speak about this though. You have another disk removable, which is this USB here. On my, I have it as a USB here on my computer. So basically, as you see, it's a Linux one. So it has 2 partitions there, which has been created, and so on and so forth. If I would have a CD drive, I would have seen it here. Now, If I go to my file system, again on this PC, you see there is a USB drive. Well, there was a USB drive. That's the USB drive actually which I'm having at the moment. Because it's a different operating system, if I click on it, you see it doesn't show me anything because this operating system cannot read the other one. Okay, that's why. Now, sometimes you see there is network here. Sometimes I could see the mapped, that's how they call it, mapped network drives. Let me show you on my remote computer. I'll show it to you to my computer at home, so you guys to see what I'm talking about. So if I open my computer at home, yeah, it's slow. Finally, so if I go to this PC here, devices and drives, well, I don't have a network. Well, on my network, if I click, well, because I don't have anything mapped, I don't see it. But basically, if I would have mapped something, let's map it here. It's very easy. You go view, I'm sorry. You do like this, 120, 192. Okay. And basically you do here, when you go computer and you do map network drive, okay, map network drive. Now I'm going to put this one, 192.168.20.10. I'll do browse. Here it is. And I will map the Tableau, let's say. Okay, the subfolder of Tableau. I'll do OK. And I could reconnect it anytime I sign in, as well as I could connect as a different user if I want. I'll do finish. It will open the location, but the important thing is actually, when I come here now, I say I have network location, and this has been mapped. Even though it's not in my computer, it has been attached to my computer, and it's a network. In the same way, I could even attach Dropbox files, OneDrive, OneDrive thing of Microsoft, Google Drives, and so on and so forth. I could attach them to my system. That's in Windows, it's called mapping. You map it to this. In different operating system, it's called different. Okay.